Gentlemen, we might finally have an idea of what Nightcrawler could be in Marvel Rivals. And honestly, this is not what I expecting. Because for the longest time, whenever Nightcrawler was mentioned, the obvious assumption was Duelist. And I mean, look at the character. He is teleporting all over the battlefield, fighting with sword, climbing walls, jumping between enemies, and disappear before anyone can react. So yeah, making him a Duelist makes perfect sense. But recently, there has been a lot of more discussion around the possibility of Nightcrawler being a strategist. And also, many of you guys told me he's going to be a healer, and that can make a lot of sense, so hear me out. Because when you actually look at the court, what he can do in the comics, this idea isn't nearly as crazy as it sounds. And the interesting part is that Marvel Rivals wouldn't even need to completely change the character to make it work. His teleportation, his experience with helping injured people, and especially the Hopesword could give the developers a way to build a support kit that actually feels like Nightcrawler. So today, we are going to look at how Nightcrawler could work as a strategist, and why this might actually be a really good fit for him. So let's start with the obvious question. Why would Nightcrawler be a healer at the first place? Well, the biggest reason is his teleportation. Because Kurt doesn't only teleport himself. Throughout the comics, Nightcrawler has used his teleportation to rescue people, get allies out of danger, and move people to safety. And that actually fit the Surge Glow surprisingly well. Imagine your teammate is about to get eliminated. Instead of standing behind them and throwing some healing projectile across the map, he could BAMF to them and grab them and get them out of danger. And that's what makes the idea so interesting. He could be a strategist because he preventing teammate from dying at the first place. And then you have another part of the Court character that everyone doesn't know about. He has medical knowledge and helped wounded people throughout their stories, so healing isn't completely random for him. But there is one thing that makes the idea even more interesting: the Hopesword. This isn't just some random magical sword. The Hopesword is directly connected to his own hope, and it has been used in the way that could give Marvel Rivals a pretty good natural explanation for some of his support abilities. And if the leaks surrounding his kit are even remotely accurate, this could get really interesting. Now, this is where I think Nightcrawler could become one of the most unique strategists in the game. Because what if his teleportation itself was part of his healing? Whenever Nightcrawler buffs, he travels throughout the Brimstone dimension, leaving behind the iconic cloud of smoke. So instead of treating that smoke as nothing more than a visual effect, Marvel Rivals could actually turn it into a part of his kit. For example, Nightcrawler could teleport to an ally, and the buff itself could heal the teammates around the location where he arrives, just like White Fox. Or he could move around the battlefield, leaving behind temporary areas that help his teammates. And suddenly, you're not playing Nightcrawler like a traditional healer anymore. You are constantly moving, you're teleporting across the fight, jumping between the teammates, helping someone who is in trouble, and then disappear before enemy can push you. And this isn't completely coming out of nowhere either. There are already community leaks discussion about describing Nightcrawler buff being connected to the healing allies around his teleport location. Now, obviously none of those specific abilities are officially confirmed, so I wouldn't treat them as a final kit. But the concept itself makes a lot of sense, because if you're going to make him a strategist, why not make his iconic ability, teleportation, the foundation of his support playstyle? But buff isn't just a reason I think a strategist Nightcrawler could work. There is another part of his comics history that fits even better: the Hopesword. The Hopesword is a mystical weapon connected directly to his hope. And this is very important because the sword isn't just another weapon Kurt happened to use. It's tied up to one of the most important parts of his character. Nightcrawler has always been someone whose faith and hope have been tested. He's gone throughout some absolutely insane situations, but that hope is still a huge part of who he is. And eventually, that concept actually becomes a physical weapon. So if Marvel Rivals want Nightcrawler to heal his teammates, the Hopesword gives them a pretty interesting way to explain where that power comes from. And there are also leak kits discussion that have described the Hopesword being used to heal and killing the allies. So imagine you got the effect by the enemy, like Briefly Blind by Cloak and Dagger. Now, Nightcrawler can cleanse your soul, kind of purify your character and cleanse the effect. Again, those are leaks, not confirmed abilities. But if something like that end up being real, it will actually fit the character incredibly well. Because instead of giving Nightcrawler some random ability to heal, the developer can make his hope the thing that keeps his teammate alive. And that's much more interesting way to turn him into a strategist. And if Nightcrawler really is coming as an strategist, I don't think we are going to get a normal healer, because that just wouldn't feel like Nightcrawler. His entire identity is built around the mobility. He should be everywhere. You see him on the side of the fight, then suddenly he's behind you, and 2 seconds later he's helping someone else on the other side of the map. That's what would make him interesting as a support. Instead of asking, how do I heal my teammate? Nightcrawler could be asking, how do I get my teammate out before they even take the damage? And that's completely a different way of playing a strategist. You could teleport to an ally who been chased and save them. So Nightcrawler can be an anti-dive. Reposition yourself, jump back to the fight and then disappear again. There are also league concepts that give Nightcrawler a way to teleport directly to an allies and reposition them while providing healing and killing their soul. Still, the overall idea is incredibly fitting. Now let's talk about his ultimate. Imagine Nightcrawler summoning the Hopesword and entering the temporary support state. His healing becomes stronger, his ability can kill his allies. Maybe his teammate around him receives some kind of protection. And instead of being some random super mode, there is actually a reason behind it. It's Nightcrawler hope. The thing that keeps him going throughout everything, now keep his teammate alive. There are a lot of discussions that have mentioned Hopesword healing and killing the allies. Even in some versions, Nightcrawler can give his allies unstoppable effect, means that enemy can affect you for a while. His teleportation give him mobility, his medical knowledge give him another connection to the support role, and the Hopesword gives the developer a lore-based way to connect him to healing. So, if this is the direction Marvel Rivals is taking, I don't think we are getting a healer who just happened to be Nightcrawler. We are getting a Strategist whose entire playstyle could be built around the thing that core unique abilities have: teleportation, mobility, and the Hopesword. And most importantly, hope. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea for his ability, let me know in the comment. Thank you, bye bye.